Hi everybody, I'm here with a comparing video, this time between Diary of a Wimpy Kid and Diary of an Awesome Friendly Kid. Now, for these two, I got this book many years ago, and this was the first book they ever released. And of course, it's by the author Jeff Kinney. In fact, both these books are by the author Jeff Kinney. So for Diary of a Wimpy Kid, this book is about Greg Heffley and about him starting middle school. And he talks about the ups and downs of middle school. And then for Diary of an Awesome Friendly Kid, this talks about Raleigh Jefferson. Raleigh Jefferson talks about himself instead of Greg. And of course, as it says up here, it says, "Hey, he copied me." Well, I'll tell you this. Raleigh did not copy Greg. Raleigh wrote his own journal. Sorry, Greg. Alright, so this one says Raleigh Heffley's journal, and then inside this book it says Greg Heffley's journal. And of course, this book has seen its days because it's now falling apart, obviously, just because, it's old. And then this book I got at Walmart because they released this book this past spring. And I was lucky to have it. And it says 20, and I got it at Target because you can get it for 20% off. And then this book, we got at a bookstore, or I got at a bookstore. So I'll tell you the differences. They're both hardcover, obviously, and on the side it shows, this one it shows Raleigh, and then on the side of this one it shows Greg. Shows Greg's disappointed look, and then Raleigh's happy look, because Raleigh's more of a happy kid than Greg is. And then this one it says the #1 New York Times bestseller. It's the best-selling book there. Shows a cheese there, so not there. Both of them say Jeff Kinney, but this one's written in blue, that one's written in white. And it shows Raleigh in the middle of a firework. And then for Greg, it just shows him on a piece of paper. And on the back of the book, it explains like Greg and Raleigh explain themselves in the back cover. Like Greg says, "I'll be famous one day, but for now, I'm stuck in middle school with a bunch of morons." And then, of course, for Raleigh, it says on the back of the book, it says the same thing as his first entry, which says, "Hi, my name is Raleigh Jefferson. This is my book. Now I have a diary, just like my friend Greg." It's not a diary. It's a journal. Well, guess what? It says, well, if you think it's a journal, then why does it say diary on the front? Well, Jeff Kinney wrote that, so ask Jeff Kinney. I called my book Diary of an Awesome Friendly Kid because that's what my dad always says about me. You are an awesome friendly kid. Even though this book is about me, it has a whole lot of Greg in it because he is my best friend. Sometimes my parents say things that make me think they don't feel the same way about Greg. Like they say, we do not like Greg. Anyway, I hope you liked my book because I worked real hard on it. And I hope my friend Greg likes it too. He totally stole my idea. Again, he did not steal your idea because he wrote this book himself. Once again, sorry, Greg. And then this side shows Raleigh's head all over the book, which is kind of funny. This one's just blank. And then for here it says, "Hi, I'm Raleigh Jefferson." And then for this side it shows the cheese. Because for Diary of a Wimpy Kid series, it'll take a picture from the book and we'll place it right here, like the most infamous picture, which is the cheese. And then unlike Raleigh, for Greg, it shows a picture of him, and then Raleigh Fregley, and then his family. Which of course his mom and dad and his brothers, Roderick and Manny. So yeah, and then of course this is the dialogue which Greg wrote. Greg has written much more dialogue than Raleigh has, because Raleigh kind of spread his out, Greg put his together, which is really nice, and it shows his entry. And of course, Raleigh explains, Raleigh not only writes his entries in here, but he's also explained his stories. And then that's what Raleigh has. And then for Greg's entry, he put the days of the week and then the holidays and events and such. And then he talks about his family life and his friends and his school life. Raleigh does the same thing too. But unlike Greg, who drew noses on the character, for Raleigh, his does not have noses. Well, the characters don't have noses on it, whereas in this one, they do. And I'm trying to think what else to say. And of course, Craig doesn't agree with this in the end, but who does agree, who doesn't, I don't care. And of course, on the back, there's no dialogue on the back of this, like, there's no plot or anything on the back, like, no dialogue. On the back of this, on Dire Wimpy Kid, it shows the dialogue, like the info about the book. And then for this one, it says, and of course, it even shows here's some books my best friend Greg wrote, this is the list of all the Dire Wimpy Kid books, which I have the rest off the side, which I will show off in this video. Yeah, and then you totally stole my ideas, what it says. Okay, then who's this guy? I wrote the words and drew the pictures all by myself without from any help from a road-up. Oh yeah, oh then who's this guy? Of course, Jeff Kinney, as I explained, is the author of this whole book series. And then, of course, the back of this book shows the info, which I'll read it. Being a kid can really stink, and no one knows this better than Greg Heffley, who finds himself thrust in middle school, where undersized weaklings share the hallway with kids who are taller, meaner, and already shaving. That's what it says. And then I have some other books off the side, which the rest of the books right here, which I will show off right here. That one just shows picture Greg. And then Dire Wimpy Kid Roderick Rules is the second book in the Dire Wimpy Kid series. Which, of course, Dire Wimpy Kid was released in... The first Dire Wimpy Kid book was released in 2007. And then Dire Wimpy Kid Roderick Rules, it shows a picture of Greg being bullied by his brother Roderick. And then this one shows... And instead of Rowley in the front, it shows Roderick in the front facing Greg, because the title is Roderick Rules. And then for this one, it shows Roderick drumming in that picture. And then it shows his family and then his grandpa. And then Fragley's in the last one. And then for Dire Wimpy Kid Roderick Rules. Whatever you do, don't ask Greg Heffley how he spent his summer vacation, because he definitely doesn't want to talk about it. As Greg enters the new school year, he's eager to put the past 3 months behind him, and one event in particular. Unfortunately for Greg, his older brother Roderick knows all about the incident. Greg wants to keep under wraps, but secrets have a way of getting out, especially when a Dire is involved. And then speaking of Dire Wimpy Kid, Jeff Kinney is releasing a 14th Dire Wimpy Kid book this year, which is called Dire Wimpy Kid Wrecking Ball, which I will show that off later in the year, like I do with all these. And then this is the third book, Dire Wimpy Kid The Last Straw, which shows Greg on the front in his underwear. And then, of course, this book I also got at the bookstore. Same with The Last Straw. In fact, I got all three of these the same day as each other. And, of course, much like the first book, this book has seen its better days because it's coming to part 2. And then this one shows a picture of Greg in a bathrobe. And then for this one, it shows his family, Rowley, and Holly Hills, obviously, who's new in the book. And then, of course, at the back of the book, this one says, let's face it, Greg Heffley will never change his would-be ways. Somebody just needs to explain that to Greg's father. You see, Frank Heffley actually thinks he can get his son to toughen up, and he enlists Greg in organized sports and other manly endeavors. Of course, Greg is easily able to sidestep his father's efforts to change him, but when Greg's dad threatens to send him to the military academy, Greg realizes he has to shape up or get shipped out. And then there's the next book is Dire Wimpy Kid Dog Days, which is the 4th book in the series and shows Greg out in the hot sun with an ice cream dropped out of the cone. And then, of course, the picture of this one shows a crawling hand. And then it shows his family as well as their dog, Sweetie. And then for Dog Days, the back says, it's summer vacation, the weather's great, and all the kids are having fun outside. So where's Greg Heffley? Inside his house playing video games with the shades drawn. Greg, a self-confessed indoor person, is living out his ultimate summer fantasy. No responsibilities and no rules. But Greg's mom has a different vision for an ideal summer, one packed with outdoor activities and family togetherness. Whose vision will win out, or will a new addition to the Happily Family change everything? And then this next book is Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Ugly Truth, which is and then for Diary of a Wimpy Kid Dog Days, probably wondering where I got that. My dad had this at his Book Village company, and he gave this to me. It's a really good book. Whereas all three of these I got at a bookstore. And then for Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Ugly Truth, I got this from my dad as well. But I got it the next year, though. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Water Rules, the book was published in 2008. And then Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Last Straw was published in 2009. Dog Days was published in 2009 as well. And then for Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Ugly Truth shows a picture of Greg sitting on a haystack with an egg, holding an egg. And then it shows a picture right there of someone's armpit, which is kind of creepy. And then it shows his family and Rowley, of course, because Rowley's his best friend, obviously. And then, of course, the next couple books say coming soon, more Diary of a Wimpy Kid books. And there has been more coming out, which is amazing. And then it shows his grandmother there instead of his grandfather. And then this book was published in 2010. And then for the back of the book, Greg Heffley has always been in a hurry to grow up, but is getting older really all it's cracked up to be. Greg suddenly finds himself dealing with the pressures of boy-girls for increased responsibilities and even the awkward changes that come with getting older, all without his best friend Rowley at his side. Can Greg make it through on his own, or will he have to face the ugly truth? And then this next book right here is Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Cabin Fever, which I got this book for Christmas. And it shows a picture of Greg and Manny trapped inside while there's snow building up the window. And then, of course, it shows a picture of Greg fantasizing his toy baby scratching the window. And then it shows, and speaking of toy baby, it shows his baby right there as well as his family and his best friend Rowley. And then this book was published in 2011. And then for the back, Greg Heffley is in big trouble. School property has been damaged and Greg is the prime suspect. But the crazy thing is he's innocent, or at least sort of. The authorities are closing in, but when a surprise blizzard hits the Heffley family's trapped indoors, Greg knows that when the snow melts, he's going to have to face the music. But could any punishment be worse than being stuck inside with your family for the holidays? And then this next book I have is Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Third Wheel, which shows a picture of Greg holding a flower and a heart because he goes to a Valentine's Day dance in this book. And then I haven't explained the back of the books yet, which the first book shows a picture of Greg in front and behind the two morons that he wrote. The second book, the back, shows a photo of him in the bathroom wrapped in toilet paper. The third book shows a picture of Greg in a bathrobe, and his dad sees him there. The fourth book shows a picture of Greg playing video games, like he does in the summer. The fifth book shows a picture of Greg coming out of a store and Rowley watching him. The sixth book shows a picture of Greg in bed and hearing a door being knocked on. And then the seventh book shows a picture of Greg as Cupid shooting love arrows at two girls. And speaking of, I'm actually going to read the back of this book. Well, before I do that, I'm going to show off the inside of this. Of course, it shows his family, his friend Rowley, and his Uncle Gary. And then this book was published in 2012, which I got this book at a bookstore. And then, like I said, Cabin Fever was published in, let me see, what year was it? I think I forgot about that. It was published in 2011. If you need a reminder, it was published in 2011, this one in 2012. And then the back of this book, I'll read it. Love is in the air, but what does that mean for Greg Heffley? A Valentine's Day dance is at Greg's mill, so has turned his world upside down. As Greg scrambles to find a date, he's worried he'll be left out in the cold on the big night. His best friend Rowley doesn't have any props either, but that's a small consolation. An unexpected twist gives Greg a partner for the dance and leaves Rowley the odd man out. But a lot can happen in one night, and in the end, you never know who's going to be lucky in love. And then this next book I have here is Of course, Die a Wimpy Kid, The Third Wheel is the 7th book in the series. Cabin Fever is the 6th book, obviously, as so with the others. And the next book I have is Die a Wimpy Kid, Hard Luck, which is the 8th book in the series, and it shows a picture of Greg covering himself as he's being hit with a bunch of magic 8 balls. And then here it shows Abigail, and then Rowley, and then his family. And on the back, of course, once again, it shows magic 8 balls falling. Greg Heffley is on a losing streak. His best friend Rowley Jefferson has ditched him, and finding new friends in middle school is proven to be a tough task, like it always has been for him and Rowley. To change his fortunes, Greg decides to take a leap of faith and turn decisions over to chance. Will a roll of dice, the dice turn things around, or is Greg's life destined to be just another hard luck story? And then this next book I have is Die a Wimpy Kid, The Long Haul, which is the 9th book in the Die a Wimpy Kid series. And then for Die a Wimpy Kid, Hard Luck, that book was published in 2013, and I got this book for Christmas. And then Die a Wimpy Kid, The Long Haul, I got at the bookstore, and this is actually, and I was very fortunate too, because this book is an autographed copy by Jeff Kinney. And this book covers, and the picture shows, a picture of Greg in his van stuffed under luggage. And there's a flat tire. There's Jeff Kinney's autograph right there. And then right there it shows a pacifier. And then for Hard Luck it shows a picture of like an amulet. For the third wheel, I don't think I've shown that picture. Yes, it shows a rally pox, or chicken pox, whatever you want to call it. And then for Long Haul, it shows Mr. Beardo, a duck, Manny, and Grace family. And then this is the first book that does not show Rowley. And then this book was published in 2000... What year was it? 2014, yes. And at the back, a family road trip is supposed to be a lot of fun, unless, of course, you're the Heffleys. The journey starts off full of promise, then quickly takes several wrong turns. Gas station, bathrooms, crazy seagulls, a fender bender, and a wrong pig. Not exactly Greg Heffley's idea of a good time, but even the worst road trip can turn into an adventure, and this one the Heffleys won't soon forget. And the next book is Die a Wimpy Kid, Old School, which is the 10th book in the Die a Wimpy Kid series, which I got this at a bookstore. And it shows a picture of Greg with a radio and a tape. And it shows a picture of Lemonade right there. And then it shows the Silas Crash, which is a legend, a pig, and then his family. And then this is the second book that does not show Rowley in this cover section. And then this book was published in 2015. And on the back it shows Greg and Rowley selling lemonade. Life was better in the old days, or was it? That's the question Greg Heffley is asking as his town voluntarily unplugs and goes electronics free. But modern life has its conveniences, and Greg isn't cut out for an old-fashioned world, as he always isn't. With tension building inside outside the Heffley home, will Greg find a way to survive, or is going old school just too hard for a kid like Greg? And I haven't explained the whole books there. I didn't explain what the book's about just because this kind of explains it right there. And then the next book is Die a Wimpy Kid, Double Down, which shows a picture of Greg falling down the stairs. And this is the 11th book in the series, and this book I bought at Target as it says 20% off right there. And then this right there shows a picture of two worms. And then right there it shows Maddox's best friend Rowley and his family. In fact, every Die a Wimpy Kid book shows his family. And then almost every Die a Wimpy Kid book has shown his best friend Rowley. And then this book was published in 2016. And after the bad book, the pressure is really piling up on Greg Heffley. His mom thinks video games are churning his brain too much, so she wants her son to put down the controller and explore his creative side. And if that's not scary enough, Halloween is just around the corner and the frights are coming at Greg's angle. When he discovers a bag of gummy worm, it sparked an idea. Can Greg get his mom off his back by making a movie, or will he become rich and famous in the process? Or will doubling down on this plan just double Greg's troubles? Sorry if that's the long video. Sorry that this video is long. I just thought I'd show off all these Die a Wimpy Kid books just because it kind of relates to the video. And then, of course, this book Well, it was made in like 2006. Alright. This next book I got is Dire Wimpy Kid, The Getaway, which is the 12th book in the series. And it shows Greg on a plane, obviously. And also shows Roderick and Manny. And then this picture shows a picture there of a spider. And then for this one, shows a picture of his family, Roderick's girlfriend, and then the conga guy. And then this book was published in 2017, and I got this book at Target. And on the back, it shows a picture of Greg and his family on a banana boat, which later in the book, it becomes a wanted poster because of a misunderstanding that happened. Greg Heffley and his family are getting out of town. With the cold weather and the stress of the approaching holiday season, the Heffleys decide to escape to a tropical island resort for some much-needed rest and relaxation. A few days in the paradise should do wonders for Greg and his fragile family. But the Heffleys soon discover that paradise isn't everything it's cracked up to be. Sun poisoning, stomach troubles, and venomous critters all threaten to ruin the family's vacation. Can their trip be saved, or will this island getaway end in disaster? And then the last book I'm showing you is Dire Wimpy Kid, The Meltdown, which is the 13th book in the series, and I got this at Target, and it actually came with a poster, which I took out of the book, and that says 20% off. And then it shows a picture of some puppet there, whatever. For The Meltdown, it shows Rowley, his family, and then shows a girl throwing a snowball at Greg. So yeah, so 3 of the Dire Wimpy Kid books do not show Rowley on the front cover. Like this title section, the section right there. And then for this one, it shows Greg as a snowman. And then, let's see, and then this book was published last year, because I bought it at Target last year. And then for this back page, when snow shuts down Greg Heffley's middle school, his neighborhood transforms into a wintry battlefield. Rival groups fight over territory, build massive snow forts, and stage epic solo fights. And in crosshairs are Greg and his trusty best friend Rowley Jefferson. It's a fight for survival as Greg and Rowley navigate elite alliances, betrayals, and warring gangs in a neighborhood meltdown. When the snow clears, will Greg and Rowley emerge as heroes, or will they survive and even survive to the end of the day? Alright, so that is the last book. And the next book that's coming out is, like I said earlier, is Dire Wimpy Kid, Wrecking Ball, which is the 14th book in the series, which I can't wait to show off later in the year. So yeah, so I will end my video here. Thank you for watching, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye.